by reading the instructions. Anyway, welcome. It is our Live at 5 hour. We have Rachel Vindman coming to us live shortly. She had a bit of a parenting moment that she needed to take care of, and it happens to the best of us. So we'll be joined today by me and Calvin. Calvin's here to talk to us. Ugh. Thanks, Calvin. Anyway, hi. Let me talk to you a little bit about a question that somebody asked me today about chocolate chip cookies. When Rachel gets here, we're going to talk a little bit more about, say, things like what's been going on this week in the world. We're also going to talk about cookies. But in the meantime, Calvin would like to talk to you about why he doesn't like the food he's eating, and that he wants me to get him the pate variety instead of the chopped up kind. Why is that? Why doesn't he like that? Why does he only like to lick the gravy? Do other people have cats like that? Anyway, I'm distracted. What I should tell you is the question that came to me is, can I use margarine when baking cookies, or is butter the only way to go? And I'm trying not to be snarky, but the question is, why margarine? A lot of people grew up, I think, baking with margarine. And one thing margarine does for you is it will always create a soft cookie because it's part oil, has a lot of water in it, and fat as well. But it will always create a soft cookie. So if you grew up having soft cookies, and because your mother was using Fleischmann's margarine and you start using Land O'Lakes with the same recipe, you're going to get a different outcome. I would recommend only using butter, personally. If the recipe calls for butter, using margarine will produce a completely different result. The other thing is, one nice thing you could use is Miyoko's vegan butter. That's made with like cashew milk and things. So if you're not allergic to cashews, you want a vegan option. That one works very well in cookies. Her cultured butter has been it is really good substitute for butter. So that might be just the thing that people want. So that's one of the questions that people have been asking this week. And the other one is what kind of chocolate that I use for my cookies. One of them is I'm trying to make this a little bit brighter here. There we go. One of the chocolates I use is the giant bar from Trader Joe's. They sell them in milk. They sell them in milk with almonds, which we have been known to buy in our house and cut up, chunk up, and eat. We also have, I use the semi-sweet bar. I use the dark chocolate bar, and all of them are a very great option for when you want a big chunky chocolate experience. Now, you can find fancier chocolates out there that you can use, but the other question is affordability. Cocoa prices have gone up, and Trader Joe's has maintained a reasonable price for its giant. They're called a 1 pound bar, and they're made in Belgium. So, you know, you're putting Belgian chocolate. I mean, if you read it on a menu and it was like, contains Belgian chocolate, everyone would think they were the greatest things that had ever happened to you. So there you go. So those are the things I tend to use because especially now I'm making a lot of cookies for a lot of people, especially when I was testing recipes for my cookbook. Oh, have I mentioned my cookbook? That's right here. This cookbook is known as The Secret Life of Chocolate Chip Cookies. Yes, it is. And we have Rachel trying to join, and I'm going to invite her in again. Let's see what we can do. Okay. I'm going to press some buttons. I'm inviting her to co-host. 1 second. Now I'm typing to her, inviting you to co-host. Isn't this fun? Isn't this the fun of live? Oh, there she is. Oh my gosh. You need to take a deep breath.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm like It's like pouring outside. So,
Oh, really? Sorry.
yes, yes. I was listening to you talk about Belgian chocolate and the cocoa prices that have increased, of course, along with everything else. Although I did hear our president say today that prices are down. We have no inflation and prices are down. So that should be good news.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Wait, did he just do that today? Because if so, that's gonna be great because, I had heard a story yesterday about tariffs on foreign foods and, medications from
Mhm.
outside this country, and luckily, we don't have any of those. India doesn't make any of our medications.
Yeah,
China, we
yeah.
don't
No,
get.
it's really great. This is perfect news. Okay, so but there was a very obscure post today, or maybe it was yesterday. And I don't know if you know, but we if I told you about this or not, but we had to like redo all the plumbing in our house. So good news, I got a brand new kitchen, but I already had a brand new kitchen and it was like tremendously just disruptive to our family for like almost a year.
Right.
But I just read, and so like, you pick some of these things out, and then by the time they come, I mean, if you're me, like I don't deliberate about things for a long time. So when they were like, "Oh, this like we got an induction cooktop," and they're like, "The one you got is no longer available," and I was like, "Okay, I mean." Listen, you could have just given me another one because I cannot tell the difference between these two. And like I never would have known.
Right.
But okay. But I did read that like sinks and cabinets and
Mhm.
are going to have a 50% tariff, and upholstered furniture is going to have a 30% tariff. And uh I like in Virginia, I did your podcast from Virginia, and
I remember.
we put in a new kitchen also from a plumbing issue. I don't know what's going on with that, but we did that, and I only know how to get new kitchens if insurance pays for them, which is like good but also painful.
Yes.
But like the cabinet makers, I thought they were pretty much all in the US. Like it is, I didn't know that. I don't think there are a lot of them that come from overseas. And sinks is also very strange.
I mean, I my sink over here is from Germany. It's a
Mine is
fancy.
actually from England. It's because it has a thing on it that says it's fire clay from England. But I did research that. And by the way, Marissa, I'm sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent for me these days, but I know you're supposed to be the one asking me questions. But
Mhm.
so when people say research, like I feel comfortable saying I researched which is the best porcelain sink to get, or I did some research on which is the best. Why is everything that I do research on in the kitchen? But which are the best like toaster oven or air fryer? Okay, like I think I can legitimately use the word research for those things.
Right.
But when people say I did research, I've done a lot of research about like I saw one that was like I'm an autism mom and I've done lots of research. And I'm like, when you start talking about medical issues and you say you did research, that's a whole different thing. So, like, did you conduct studies with like multiple participants over a long period of time? If the answer is no, then that's not research. You
Right. And also,
watched
if
YouTube videos and read, and I mean, that is something, but it's not research.
if maybe it is research, maybe she has a subscription to JAMA and she's getting it all in. And if that's
Yes.
the case, I would love to see her citations. That's all I'm
Mhm.
asking. I don't.
Yeah.
That's but, I think we have moved, I don't know if this surprises you, but into a world where there's a lot of, it's funny that they call it fake news, but I think there's a lot of fakery about. I feel really bad for the guy at Tylenol who spends all his time smooshing the autism into the little pills. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
easy.
no.
I just read Bad Company.
Mhm.
I mean, when you want to take a break from the secret life of chocolate chip cookies
Yeah.
and to have something a little bit, I don't know, that you can like you'll need to binge chocolate chip cookies. It's is the Bad Company. It's about oh sorry, nope, I did just read that, but that's not the book. It's called No More Tears. It's about Johnson and Johnson, that maker of Tylenol.
Oh,
If you read that, you won't feel bad for Johnson and Johnson afterwards, for like a variety of reasons.
Mhm.
But
I think,
uh,
talcum powder
yeah, I
and
mean, and I did not know. You know, the problem with talcum powder is that it contains asbestos. That's why it. I did not know that's why it caused. That was the issue with it.
yeah, because it causes cancer, ovarian
Yeah.
cancer? Is that it?
It
Cervical
causes like,
cancer?
well, yes, because asbestos is just it's not something that our body expels, it just stays in our bodies.
Mm.
And therefore it like changes the sort of like the cellular composition. So when then a cell replicates, it still is affected um by asbestos because it doesn't get
Cool.
rid of it. So yeah, yeah, it's really awesome. I mean, but don't worry about that. If you don't know about it, then we don't have it. And that is where we are right now. So don't worry your pretty little head. We're just not going to need or test for any of that stuff right now.
We don't need to
It's
do that. One of the
much
great things
better.
is because I don't mean to speak over you, but I know things you don't, and that is because, we have RFK Jr., and he is doing a lot of his own he has a lot of his own
A lot of his own
ideas, and he
research
comes
and
from a
ideas.
very, important family, and I think that means that he can say whatever he wants. Not that the
Mhm.
rest of his family would agree with that, but I think that's what the worms in his head are telling him.
Does the rest of his family also have that privilege, or is it just him?
No, I think
I
many
love.
of them are much better at, doing real research.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I think some actually have, like, jobs where they do that sort of professionally,
we
but
fired out so many scientists and researchers that luckily we have him, and so we don't need to do all the research because he has ideas.
so in January, like, the very end of January, we Alex and I were flying back from DC. We almost never travel together, and, it was a late flight. We were trying to get back for our daughter's birthday, and so not that late, but, it's like they're announcing it's gonna be a full flight, it's gonna be a full flight, okay, and then there's, like, 1 seat, I'm in the middle seat, and the seat next to me is empty, and I'm like, fingers crossed, no whammies, maybe someone wants to flight, and this woman gets on. She's a youngish girl in her 20s. She has a hat that says RFK Jr., and then she's wearing a shirt that says "Confirm RFK Jr.," and I'm like, "Yep, it's gonna be this seat." So, she went back further, but that was just to find a place for her bag. So she sits down next to me. Okay, fine. And she's like, "Why were you in DC?" I mean, she's very peppy and very like, and
She
I was like,
asked
"Oh."
you why you were
Yeah,
in
she
DC?
asked me, she was like, I mean, she was like, she said, "Are you going home or were you here? Are you going on vacation? Or are you going home?" And I said, "We're flying home." And she said, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "We were here for the Democratic National Committee like meeting." Actually, Alex wasn't there for that, but I was. And I was like, "We're going home." And she's like, "I used to be a Democrat, but now I'm not." And I was like, "Well, I presumed as much." And I was like, "Well, tell me, what do you like about him?" And I was
Oh,
curious
that
because she was there to help him get.
you have the heart of
Yeah.
a journalist. It's beautiful.
So I was like, "Well, sorry, I was like, well, we have to sit next to each other for a few hours." And so I was like, "What do you like about him?" She's like, "Well, he just really." She is, by the way, some sort of holistic medicine specialist, not.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, "What do you like about him?" She's like, "Well, he just really gets like that we have a ridiculous sick care system in our country." And I'm like, I didn't quite catch it, but then I was like, "I'm not gonna ask." And then I realized what she said. And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "He just really understands what's happening and, the food, like the horrible food." And she's like, "Right now, like I'm making the list for my clients, so like a meal plan." And I was like, "Okay, that's good." And I'm like kind of looking over at her meal plan that she's making, and it's very healthy, like it's very good. Every single packaged snack that they offered us on that flight at like 10 o'clock at night on JetBlue, she took. And one of them, I didn't actually take any of them. And the next one, she was like, "Can you get 2 and give me yours?" And I was like, yes, but I mean, I am choosing not to eat this junk at 10 o'clock at night. Why are you? Because I feel like this is just gonna land you in the sick care system." But
You didn't say
Anyway,
that because
so
you're a
no, I
lady.
didn't. Yeah, and I was just like, sure. But I'm also thinking like, um, I mean, this is just so on brand, right? Like, just like,
That is
wait.
so that is that's the perfect story. I think it says
It
so
was. I mean, she
much.
was very lovely. She did tell me something that I probably haven't internalized as much as I should because she was part of like the gathering signatures for RFK to be on the ballot places, or I don't really know how it works for presidential, to be honest, but whatever. And she was like, like Republicans would always sign and they would say things like, we need more people, not fewer people participating. And they would say things like this. And then, um, but Democrats were mean to us and they talked down to us. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I won't talk down to you. But I mean, I'm thinking it in my head, just so you know. But anyway,
It's interesting that she talks about people talking down to her. And yet there's this whole thing about us being us, meaning us freak,
mhm.
Democrat, liberal types being snowflakes. I've never really understood that. It's like,
It's very hard to reconcile all these things because as it happens, words have meaning. So they say these things, but I don't think they really use them the way they need to be used. And I know
mm,
that is a very elitist view, but um as the mom of a 14-year-old, I'm like, you can't just make up stuff. Like there are like standard definitions of things. So and you talk about this sick care system, like, look, do we need to get a handle on some of these things? Yes, but also we are a country of personal responsibility. So
aren't we? Isn't that the
I,
whole, that's, what was pushed into my head from like Reagan on upwards,
yeah, I'm like, listen, I love your cookbook. I have like my daughter and I are planning on what we're going to make. We were talking about on the way home, like what we're going to make this
Mhm.
weekend. But I haven't made any cookies yet because I got it. It was Rosh Hashanah, and then we're budgeting. Okay, like we knew we were going to have a lot of sweet food, and we were like, not last weekend. We'll do it next weekend. We try to be responsible in trying to like do
Yeah,
this, but it's but if you don't, then you don't. I mean, I'm not this is my choice for me. But
that's called because it's personal.
yeah, right. And like
And
what my neighbors do in their house, none of my business. I mean, I hope that I have lost a significant amount of weight by like I'm sorry to say everyone like it's not easy and I've had to really put a lot of work into it. But um And, like, I try to maintain it, and I feel amazing. I feel really healthy and great, but it's been a journey. So this is my commitment to myself, but, I mean, that's what I would just say, you have to do it for you, and that's how I feel about personal responsibility, like, no one else can decide for you because, these sort of things, and then I just feel like more and
but about
more.
abortion and my body, other
Mhm.
people can decide though, right?
Yeah, I wrote a Substack about that, like, parents' rights for me, but not for thee, which because I live in Florida. But, I mean, and, like, the president saying, he had another truth today that was, pregnant women do not take Tylenol and don't give children Tylenol. And, and also that you should get the MMR separately, which I don't even know if that's a thing. Like,
I
I
don't think
don't
it.
think they manufacture it that way. Let's ask India. Do you have anyone we can call? But like it's not like so you're gonna have people going into their doctors asking about this, and when you're in the waiting room, just know that's why with your children. That's probably why because they're having to explain to everyone that you can't do the M and then the M and then the R. And by the way, who wants to hold a child when they're getting 3 shots? I mean, I guess maybe you have to go back on multiple days, and we all know that's fun and convenient because
Yeah,
parents had a
kids
limited
also,
time.
and kids love that.
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
go back
We're
for
gonna go
another
get
shot?
another shot. Yeah,
Awesome.
we've done one today. 2 weeks, we're gonna do another one, and then 2
And
weeks later, we're
most
gonna do
and
the third.
doctors just really just jam all those things together just for convenience sake.
Yeah, basically, because no,
They trying to
that
get more
makes
sick
sense.
patients? No,
Hmm.
I don't think that's it either. Yeah, and we also have this whole like snowflake rules for thee, not for me. We have a very, very sensitive president who doesn't like when comedians tell jokes.
Hmm.
Although,
Comedians.
so he has to get his big guns out like Sinclair, who have finally, it seems,
I saw
agreed
that.
to
Yes.
allow Jimmy Kimmel back on the air. I hope it just does wonders for his ratings. Uh, I've
Wouldn't that be funny if like it goes up even more, like in the places where is Sinclair? And they're like, wait, I didn't think it's like when people are like, we're so mad when Alex was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm like, do you know anything about Larry David's like political leanings? I mean, it's so weird. I'm like, I thought you knew this. I mean, you say you're shocked, but again,
I,
there's no looking under the hood. There's no examining more than like right now. Like what if they look into anything, they won't like it. So they just don't look into it.
right, like James Comey being prosecuted, or having someone like Lindsay Halligan be the lead prosecutor. It's going to be her first case,
Mhm.
and um, she
Going up
was a
against the former director of the FBI, his
I
daughter, who was a
I
US attorney longer than probably Lindsay Halligan, has been contouring her face. And I mean, like, what time does she wake up to get that done? I'm both
I
like
don't
in
know. It
I
may
have
come
some
naturally.
respect.
She was a Miss Colorado at one point.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm just like, I've seen my daughter watch those videos and I'm like, who has that kind of time?
Hmm.
Um,
It is. I mean, obviously, I don't spend my time that
no,
way.
me either. As you can tell, I have not fallen into that trap. Like,
Um, I I wonder what you would say that there was also a memo that went out, and I'm reading now because this is live at 5 News.
yeah,
Memo went out saying that they would crack down on perpetrators of an assault against democratic institutions, constitutional rights, and fundamental civil liberties. And that the memo came out of the White House, Trump White House. Um, and they're not talking about themselves, which is the funny part of all of
yeah,
that,
I know. It's
right?
someone else. Mm.
I mean, that's like the comedy writes itself. I'm so glad we which is maybe why he feels so badly. It doesn't really like the Colberts and John Olivers and Jimmy Kimmels of this world. Um, so apparently, if you speak out with a differing opinion about something moral or civil or any of these things, gender rights,
Hmm.
they believe that are going to call that you will be considered a domestic terrorist. That they can charge apparently. Um,
And they're bringing back the death penalty in DC. That was part of that memo as well.
Neat.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so all right,
Normal
and
stuff.
okay, so that's was today, and then this weekend is it this that Pete? I think someone referred to him as Keg's breath, but I don't want to say that live and on air. I think it was Hegseth, Pete Hegseth. I was like, who came up with that? Why didn't I think of that? Anyway, Pete Hegseth, Princeton's finest graduate, um,
New
is
Jersey.
Princeton.
Sorry.
Just Princeton is its own special
Uh,
event. That he's bringing generals together from.
Early next week.
Oh, it's
Yes.
early next
Hmm.
week.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, it's been leaked to probably liberal New York Times that which is not so well anyway that they're restoring.
WAPO, actually. It was actually WAPO.
Oh wow! Oh well,
That's
that
owned
makes
by
even
Jeff
more sense.
Bezos, a billionaire. I
He's
can't believe he's allowing them to
to
say
leak.
facts. Yeah, well, to leak. But he did say, Sean Parnell, the Pentagon spokesperson, did say that they were allowed to talk about that because that's been a big deal at the Pentagon.
Okay.
What they want journalists out what they report, um, even if it's like open source information, they can only report it if
Yeah.
they're given permission to report it.
Yeah.
Real normal, non-fascist stuff here.
Yeah. I'm having a really fun time teaching introduction to journalism. It's
I can't imagine just also, like, young people's idea of journalism right now, I think, is probably really, really changed, and, like, again, definitions. I mean, in this case, it might be that definitions have legitimately changed. Um, I mean, but what you consider journalism might not be what someone considers journalism, and do you have to reevaluate that?
no, I think there's a pretty decent understanding among my students, not just because they're my students. I'm just a fabulous teacher, but no, no, no. Just kids that age group or
Mhm,
students that age are all very pretty much aware of if you're in an introduction to journalism class, pretty much aware of what's going on and pretty much understand that if you say, "Do you think it's okay for the Pentagon to do this?" Um, they all will be like, "No, I don't think
okay.
that's okay." I think they have a keen sense that something is not quite right.
Mhm,
And it's important for us elders to make sure that they know what the journalistic code of ethics is, and that
mhm,
shouldn't change, and what journalists are supposed to do, right?
mhm.
We're supposed to
Yeah,
speak truth to power. And so if you,
mhm,
and you have a teenager, you know that there's nothing more that a teenager likes to do than speak truth to power. So
yeah,
best to get them like this and
mhm.
get them out there being
She's a
journalists.
debater, so yes, and so she, one she does 2 events, but one of them actually they're in speech, but it's extemporaneous, so she gets a topic, she has 30 minutes to research it, and then sh with no notes, she has to go and do, I think, a 10-minute speech, and it's often on current topics. So, I mean, it's always on current topics, so lots of political issues, so she has to read the news, and, that's interesting because she will sometimes challenge Mm, a legitimate expert on some of his knowledge, and that's a fun thing to witness. I should that would be a fun, Substack Live. I'll just turn on the camera, but
People would love it.
she questions in a way, I mean, I think it's like it's a healthy I mean, also to gain understanding, but, it's it's interesting, but one thing that I will say has been something that she has been told ever since 5th or 6th grade is the importance of using good sources. So, yes, she is, I mean, no Wikipedia, and making sure that it's good news sources. So that I, I appreciate that. I think there was like a whole group of people that we didn't maybe teach that to,
Yeah,
because I mean, and I don't mean this like it's a criticism, but uh, someone can I mean, they can go on YouTube, they can do something, TikTok, they can say anything and it's not vetted. I mean, there's no like level of professionalism there. There's no
yeah.
standard, I guess. Not professionalism. They can be professional, but there's no like they're going to be held accountable because they're not. They're not going to be held accountable. And um I mean, I know that New York Times, WAPO, we disagree with them so often.
Right.
But there is like a hierarchy. There's some sort of vetting. There's, these things like, I mean, like Alex and I have both been interviewed, let's say for the Atlantic, for different things.
Just getting
And
a bone for the dog.
yeah,
Yes.
I understand. Yeah. And they will call and fact check. They'll have a whole separate person call and fact
Yes.
check. Who else did that? Oh, This American Life. When
That's beautiful.
you guys, Ira Glass came to my house. It was maybe like the most magical moment of my life.
Wow.
I don't know what
Really?
else to say.
He's
Yeah,
real? He doesn't just exist in my radio?
and he's really, really nice. And do you know, you're going to appreciate this. Do you know what his main job is? He's a copy editor. I did not know that.
I did not know that.
He's just such a lovely, lovely
I
person.
mean,
But
that makes me like him even
I
more.
know everything I learned about Ira Glass, I like even more. But
It's funny because I was having a conversation 2 days ago in class with my students about fact checking, and I got a little wistful.
like, what happened? You're like, did I say it? I think I said that. I mean, yeah, it sounds like something I would say, but they're like making sure that they're quoting you appropriately. And it's a separate person who does it, who it's like I mean, it's about as
It's
robust
supposed
as
to
it can
be.
be. Yeah. And it's not like, oh, let's get this. I was going to say a bad word. I don't know if you do that.
Mhm.
Let's get this, slap this up as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And like, it's not that. It is like meant to be real. And so, it's meant to be vetted. It's not just like this. It's not a tweet. Okay. It's not something it's something, there's substance to it. And even if you're writing something that's going to go out in a few hours, like you can still do that, but
Mhm.
not very many people stop to do it because they want to be first. They want to make sure that they're like, but what does first mean? I mean, I don't really want something that's just first, like a little bit of stuff. I want actually, if I could have one stop shop and get all the information I need, who, what, where, when, why, and how from one story, that's more meaningful to me than like, oh, this thing's going to happen. We don't know anything about it, but hey, we're the first to tell you it's going to happen. Like, what does that do for me? It just makes me kind of panicky, actually.
Yes,
And
exactly right. And how many times does that happen in a week with a story?
in
And
a day.
and we're not even talking about TMZ, you know?
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, like, if it's that way for celebrity news, then all right, it's rumors, it's gossip, it's okay. But this is like our national news, and I feel like not to be that person, but I do feel like both sides have fallen into it, and because it's the way that we monetize and the way we reward, that we pay for this.
I'm
It's
just gonna
okay, I
let the
got it.
dog out because
I
he's barking.
understand.
Yes. But
I did tell my daughter, I was like, "You're in charge of the dogs."
Um, and I just picked his phone down the stairs. If anybody's wondering, it's a
Why
really
do you have
nice
all
one.
these flowers, all these gorgeous flowers?
Thank you. I hope everyone that's really why I left, to show you all
Mhm.
the dahlias behind me. Um, I was going to it's dahlia season and I have a lot
Okay.
of them and I'm going to be delivering them to other people. It's not just for me.
Oh, I love that. It's very
um,
like
well, we're trying to
Shinatoba.
spread democracy, spread kindness. But
Mhm.
you were saying about how it happens all the time now that people will like just get out there with the story so you can be the first one on the scene and we'll get people talking for hours about something that they know nothing about, right? Like there was breaking news story out of the Dallas ICE shooting
Yes.
at the Dallas ICE shooting. Um, I saw something else today that and I mean it came to mind today that happens all the time now too with the news is calling something a breaking news story when it broke 12 hours ago, 24 hours ago, and they do that bung 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 so you have to turn
Mhm.
your head and go holy
Yeah,
smokes
yeah.
what happened, and it's like breaking news and they have a beautiful graphic and the whole thing. And then I turn and I'm like, that's not breaking news. It's not
Mhm.
even a new development in the story. It's just the same story. And I suspect we've all been have some inkling of the news that
Mhm.
of this news. So I can't right all the
I
wrongs in
don't
the world.
I don't really I remember after 9/11, I actually lived in Israel on 9/11, and I remember watching CNN International, and, they had, like that's when they started having, like, the ticker at the bottom,
Yeah.
and then they just never got rid of it, and I remember, like, trying to read that and watch it, and I was like, "This is so chaotic, like, I can't handle this is, like, a lot of stress," and now we just do it all the time. Well, actually, they stop with the most of the time, but, um, it's too much, but I would like to read a comprehensive story about something and then go on with my day. And I think it does lessen the chaos. It does lessen like
Mhm.
because look, the ICE facility, I mean, actually we don't really know anything about it except the real epidemic in our country seems to be riding on bullet casings. But
Yeah, that's new and with a
yeah,
ballpoint pen.
I know. I'm
Really?
sorry that, yeah. And like, could you not find a Sharpie? The president must have all of them,
President has
but
them all. That we
he's
yeah. Right.
cornered the market. But we have a nice, because when Alex signs book, he uses Sharpie. It's like his own joke to himself, and so we have like a really large supply. Don't tell anyone.
No one
If
will
if the
know.
FBI shows up tomorrow, no, I know why. But it's whether I know about that story right when it happens or whether I read about it 12 hours later, that does not change anything about the story. And frankly, for me, it's not like going to make a difference in my day. I mean, for some people, certainly it would. Like if you had someone at the ice facility, if it were local for local news to follow it and to like, maybe interrupt television or whatever, that makes perfect sense because people might know someone who was there and, they need to find out what's happening and for
This
loved
happened
ones.
to me this week.
Oh,
To
okay.
I was there at the gym. I also wanted to throw in that I was at the gym,
Well
and I
done.
was really, like, cruising along, going at a faster pace on the treadmill, thank you, and watching all the different news channels in front
Mhm.
of me, and one of them said, "Breaking news, shooting at Penn Station." And I was like, was full of endorphins, and I'm like, "It feels so good to be here." And I was so proud of myself. I had literally just dropped my son off at the train that was
Mm.
heading straight into Penn Station, and I had to I, like, stop the
Yeah.
machine, texted,
What the
like,
stop button?
and I was like, "Penn Station." Yeah, the emergency stop button.
Mhm.
"Penn Station shooting," to see what was what because I'm a journalist and I don't instantly text my son, I find
Mhm.
out what the story is. That breaking news story was 12 hours before. The person was in custody. Right? So, it was no longer a breaking news story,
Mhm.
but uh, so I had a lot of adrenaline that wasn't the healthy kind that was
Yeah,
coursing through
yeah.
my veins, and that's a
Mhm.
good reason not to
I'm
do
very
it.
familiar with that feeling. No, it is, and then I mean, I think we all know it's just the little boy who cried wolf. It just really diminishes the idea of breaking news when we do need to wake up and pay
Yes.
attention to what the breaking news is. Like, think if we had an Amber Alert here yesterday. I'm like, and I remember getting it when we got it. It was like around dinner, all our phones start going off and everything. And I thought, uh, you know, this is like one of the last times that or the last things that I really believe when it's like breaking news or something like immediate. Amber alerts might be like one of the few things,
Right.
or I'm from Oklahoma, so maybe a tornado warning. But I mean, like there's not a lot of things that I really like stop and think, okay, this is serious, like in the moment, because we're just bombarded with all the stuff all the time.
Yeah, when I get the notification of breaking news, so, w I think I'll have more impact with people because I don't think people are gonna necessarily listen to me about cookies, and I before we go today, I did wanna know if you had any questions about cookies, any thoughts about cookies, and if you were hopefully gonna you don't have to eat them, bake them, give them to your neighbors. That's sort of my push is like, "Why don't
Uh,
we just make cookies?"
that is our plan, actually. We're going to give some away. We're going to make them. We were thinking about the toffee ones because, I mean, the
Toffee.
photography in this book is just amazing, I have to say.
Thank you,
But
Amy Roth,
okay,
amazing
it's
photographer.
really, really beautiful. But I think we're going to go with the soft chocolate chip cookies because I
Mm,
do enjoy them, but I've never been able to like master them. I'll let you know how it goes.
mhm.
Um, but I'm going to have to ask you about something. And what do you think of strip mall cookie stores?
Well,
And they're
I yeah.
giant cookies.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean more giant like this as opposed to giant like this. So they're
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's like one cookie, but it's like enough. Okay, just real. So 2 years ago, we hosted. Do you know what the Maccabi Games like the Jewish Olympics? But it's not really like Olympic level. So of course, they're like, "Yes, I mean, Alex and I were like, "Yes, we can host." And we're like, we can take 3 girls." And then, they call me and say, "Okay, we have 3 girls." And they're like, "Oh, well, actually, could you host some girls from overseas because it's Jewish, so it's like they come before Shabbat and leave after Shabbat." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's fine." then I promise you, like the day that we got our assignments, I look and I have 6 girls, and I was like, "Oh, and okay, I'm just gonna go with it." But I had 6 girls from the UK. I loved them. They loved us. I like now every time I go, I'm just like, "Can we go see the girls?" And Alex
Aw.
loved them too. We had a really great time. They were lovely. So they were here over the weekend. They got here on a Thursday night, and then they had this whole list of things they wanted to do, and one of them was they wanted to go to crumble cookies. So I got and then they were like, "Do you have a crumble cookie cutter?" And I was like, "I have a knife." So I guess, like, on TikTok, there's, like, a special crumble cookie cutter, and, um
I mean, that's
and
smart.
that yeah, and I was like, I don't have one of those," but, like and they're like, "Yeah, because you cut it into 4 pieces because it's so big." And I was like, "Well, then why don't they just sell, like, different sized cookie?" Well, actually, now they do sell mini ones, but I was like, "Why don't they just have, like,
You're silly.
why?" I know, it was like, "Oh,"
Oh,
and to me, if
grandma.
you yeah, I know. I was like, yeah." So, and then it's like, I guess to me, when you're making a cookie like that big, it's like a whole different skill set, don't you think? Or like a different, not skill set, but it's a whole different strategy than if you're making like a normal size. Cause like,
It's also a whole different creation
yeah,
too.
okay,
It's
yeah,
like it goes beyond cookie to become it's an Instagram event more than it is an eating event. And I know people who just like love them so much, but I think there gets to be a certain like age where you're like, I can't take all that sugar. And like,
yeah,
I'm literally the person who just wrote a book
mhm,
about cookies. But I also try and make my recipes not too sweet or whatever.
mhm,
These are meant to be obscene. They're meant to be
yeah,
photographed,
hmm,
and that's their special.
hmm.
They make me personally a little bit sad. But who am I to ruin somebody's fun?
Yeah, it's
I
just
am.
a lot. I know, but it's just a whole lot. Oh, Rochelle Cohen said now she needs to get your book. Yes, you need to get Marissa's book. I mean, listen, everyone in my family has perused it. And my husband knows nothing about baking, but some reason on our oven, when we use the same ovens because there was like our appliances were fine, but I just wanted the induction cooktop, of course, which is
Yeah,
amazing, I must say.
yeah. It's the thing
Gas
to
was
have.
not an
It's
option
definitely
for
yeah.
us, so we don't even have gas to our like neighborhood. So, but like the induction is fabulous. But we used our when we put our oven back in, Alex was like, "Oh, it has Wi-Fi," and I was like, "Yes, but, like, what are you gonna do with that?" So he set it up to his phone. Now, every time I turn on the oven, he's like, "Oh, it's done preheating." I'm like, "And what are you going to do with that information, my love? Nothing. You are going to do nothing because you are not that competent." And he is an expert on many things and a very intelligent man. But and when I'm like, "Can you take it out of the oven?" He's like, "Which one?" I was like, "There's only two." So, I mean, you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. And if you get it wrong, you'll just close it and then you'll open the other one and take it out of that one. So, like, we don't need to talk about it necessarily. Like, we can just do it.
Your husband
But
isn't like a trained engineer by any chance, is he?
No, but he has some of those tendencies, I
Yeah.
would say, the very analytical in that regard.
People should know that my husband is an electrical engineer by
Okay,
training.
okay,
And
okay.
so when I write recipes, I write them with him in mind
I love that. So
because
can he do that? Can he make it?
I think so. But, like, why do it if I'm here to bake them, really? I mean,
Well, that's kind of how I felt about when we lived in Russia and I knew Russia and I learning Russian. I was like, but I can just call him and he can translate for me if it's anything hard. But like let's say, when they, like, have, like, a HelloFresh meal or something, I've gotten those in the past, and then it's like, "This is easy, and it takes, 20 to 30 minutes." I'm like, "Not for my husband. He could not do this." And, I mean, not only would this be, like, the upper end of his abilities, it would definitely take him, like, an hour. I mean, solidly an hour. So it's all there's a range, but my daughter is just learning how to bake, so she really liked the book because, I I have cookbooks, but I don't know if I have any, like I have, like, my grandma's old cookbooks and stuff, but
oh,
they don't really have, like, beautiful pictures and, from the local 4-H club or whatever, or,
Love those cookbooks. I
yeah.
love those cookbooks.
Me too. I do. I absolutely love them. But I mean, I used to just go to her house and I would, several times a month, and I would, when I was like my daughter's age and younger, and I would just read the cookbooks because, they lived in the country and there were like 3 stations and those didn't even come in well. And they had a party line, so you couldn't even use the phone and everything was long distance. So, I mean, it was Oklahoma. So, but I lived like in a city, but they didn't. So that's what I would read. But so she hasn't really gotten into cookbooks, but she saw this book sitting there and she was looking at it and was then like very energized to cook and do things. So we're going to bake together, and she's kind of, she helped me bake for Rosh Hashanah, and she wants to, bake some more. But cookies is obviously a lot more fun than like brisket. Okay. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Do you
everyone
have
can
do you
agree.
have a special brisket recipe? And then I'll let you
I
go.
I do. I've combined two, and it's kind of my go-to thing. And I definitely bake it. Some people do it like in the Dutch oven on the stove, but I don't like that. I just put it in the oven. And the only
So
thing that I
so
did get like,
dry so dry
yeah,
like you cook it dry, like,
yeah,
barbecue.
hmm
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So the only thing I do, my best friend's mom, um, she always makes it like the day before. So, like if she served it on Shabbat, she makes it on Thursday. And then not only is it easy because you don't have to use your oven for it, but I think it really does. You slice it and then it really does get all those flavors like so much better.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So I kind of, there's one called like sweet and sour brisket, and then one is like, or maybe it's Jewish sweet and sour. I don't know. They're like very popular on the internet. And then, and I kind of combine the two, and I love it. So, yeah, but I prefer to end with cookies. Or in our house, on Rosh Hashanah, we have full cheesecake. We're not a kosher household, so even
Yeah,
on Rosh
well, in
Hashanah.
my
So.
house, we had, like, pork roast on Rosh
Okay.
Hashanah, so, like
I mean, whatever. It's really just a matter of getting together. So,
and we didn't get
I,
together either. I've
yeah,
only had brisket for the first time sometime late in my 30s, which is a couple years ago, so great.
yeah,
Lucky
yeah.
me. I'm
That is.
just
It is
getting
like
used to that old
no, yeah,
brisket.
just getting used to it. That's right. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for
This is
being here.
so fun. I will post an update. Maybe I'll write a Substack about it, about what we did, and I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful bonding experience with my 14-year-old who, although she's never made cookies on her own, I'm sure she knows exactly how it needs to be done.
I'm sure she
Every
does.
everything about it. So, and my husband, even though he's traveling, he's going to know when the oven is preheated. So.
Oh, good.
He's at a book festival this weekend. Not a fun, I mean, I guess
Oh,
it's fun, but
not
it's not
fun.
gonna.
Not like cookie
No,
cookbook.
no, it's not. It's like a bunch of nonfiction as far as I could tell. And, I
This
mean,
is all
actually,
nonfiction. I'm just saying
yeah,
that this
that's
is
true.
all
You're
non
right. It's
none of
all
this is made up.
that's right.
None of this is
That's
fake
right.
news. There's even history in here. I
Yeah,
think they should start
there is
inviting me.
history.
They should start
Yes.
inviting me to these sorts of events
Okay.
to lighten it up a little.
Okay, well, yes, definitely they should. But this is the Jackson Hole Book Festival, and I don't think it would really be the crowd. But we're having a book festival in Miami. I should see if we can get you down here for that one.
Love it.
Yes, I know Mabel's Cake from Oklahoma. Mabel's Cake. Yes, I've heard of that. So anyway, who Anita Jones. Anyway, so thank you and
I
Happy New
haven't
Year
seen
to you.
any of the comments, so I'm sorry that I'm
Oh,
missing
I
them
just
out.
see like very barely at the bottom, and I took my glasses off, so I can't exactly. Yes, we moved to Florida. Okay, here's the thing: we moved to Florida. Our best friends lived here from the military. This is the first place we've ever chosen to be. We live in South Florida, but not Miami. But I'll tell you something. I did not want to. Um, Oh, yes, that's right. I know. I thought, I mean, okay, Rochelle Cohen, but there could be a lot of, but she went to our old synagogue, our former synagogue in Virginia. But here's the thing is I didn't want to say, yes, it's crazy that I'm not going to live there. Now, of course, there are concerns that I have for my daughter for various reasons, but I'm hoping that we can change some of those. And the reality is, it's not so it could be a concern at any time, but right now it's not such a concern. So I do understand all that. But I didn't want to say I don't want to live somewhere because of, you know, someone's politics. I didn't want to like have to segregate myself out of that. And right after the election, people were like, well, you could just move to a blue state. And I was like, I could, but I mean, I don't have like unlimited money. As it turns out, my husband wasn't actually paid to testify, no matter
What?
what you've heard. So, like, I mean, moving is expensive and doing things is expensive. So we're here and we're very happy. And it was everything we wanted for our daughter and for ourselves. So we already had a community here and dear friends, and one of our dear friends who's been a friend for a long time is also an author. So I will he, like, is very prolific. Brad Meltzer, I don't know if you know him, but he, like,
Oh, no.
writes these children's books, and then he also writes, he writes a nonfiction book, and then he writes a fiction book. I'm like, "Brad, you're always, like, publishing a book." It's the craziest thing. I don't know how he does it, but, so we had good friends, and we wanted to be here. So that's my name dropping, even though Brad has been my friend for, like, a really long time, but, and that's like whatever, but Ira Glass did come to my house, and I'm gonna end on that. And also we had dinner with Ira Glass and his fiancée, now wife, at Penn Station. What? So
Wow.
full circle, full circle.
My God. Okay, in the new dining area, which is actually nice. You didn't have to, like, eat, like, pretzels at Zara, and that's
No,
a real
no, it was,
it's an upgrade.
yeah. Yes, but, he is very, very lovely, and, fact checking, it is okay to be wistful from fact checking because,
Mhm.
it is, like, a real thing, and I don't think I understood how robust it is and how meaningful it is, and I do wish that we would bring some of that back, but it doesn't fit in with our current, like, now, thing, but I do think if you read something from one of those publications, you can know that, there was, like, effort and work put into it to make sure that it's, legitimate, and I still firmly believe that one day a lot of this madness is going to end, and we're gonna get back to, mm, I think I don't know what the word is, but, some standards, in some ways, so,
I feel
alright.
positive about that. I'm gonna go now because I have to go make a T-shirt for you that says, "Ira Glass came to my house."
Thank you, and, I'll keep everyone posted about the cookies for the weekend.
Thank you so much for being my
Thanks,
guest today.
Marissa.
Thank you so
Yes, it was
much.
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And thank
Bye-bye.
you everyone for being here. See ya.